Today I want to talk about improvisation on the mandolin. Improvisation is the ability to create art on the spot. And that's what we want to learn to do. To understand how to improvise on the mandolin, in my opinion, the most important thing you're going to do is learn intervals. An interval is the distance between two notes. More specifically, intervals are created from the major scale. We're going to do it in the key of D because the key of D is a very mandolin-friendly key. If I hit the third string open, that note is D. It's also the first note of the D major scale, and it is the first interval. We call it the root or the first interval. If we go to the second fret on the third string, that note is E, but it's the second interval of the scale. If I go to the fourth fret, F sharp, that is the third interval of the scale. The fifth fret is the fourth interval. So we have a root, 2, 3, and 4. Now if I go to the next string, the second string open, that's the fifth interval. That's an A note. If I go to the second fret, that's a sixth interval, which is the B note. Fourth fret is C sharp, that is the seventh interval, and the fifth fret is D again. So we have the notes D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The major scale. But what I want you to do is memorize the intervals. We're not going to worry about the notes so much right now, but we're going to worry about the intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The intervals of the major scale. The 1 and the 8 is the same note. That's why it's called the octave. Now, in the Western Hemisphere, the way we get harmony is we stack music in thirds. For example, if I go a root and a third and a fifth, that's a major triad. It's a triad if we play the notes all together, but if we play them separately, it's an arpeggio. So what I want you to do is I want you to go root, 3, 5, then the octave. That's a major arpeggio. Nail the arpeggio because that's the basics from where you'll be building off of. Root, 3, 5, octave. That's a D major arpeggio. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the major pentatonic scale. The major pentatonic scale has the root, 2, 3, 5, no 4, 6, no 7. Then the octave. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, no 7, I'm sorry. Now, it's called pentatonic because it has 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the octave, of course, is the same as the first. That's the major pentatonic scale. You can use that to improvise. That's a familiar sound. Of course, we can use the major pentatonic to improvise. But what I like to do is borrow the blue notes that are unique to the blues scale. I'm not going to talk about the blues scale in its entirety right now, but what I am going to tell you is that there are 3 notes in the blues scale are unique, meaning they're only in the blues scale. That's the flat third, meaning not the third note, but flat, lower, the flat third, the flat 5, and the flat 7. Sounds kind of weird by themselves, but the blue notes is what gives us the blues sound. Who would have guessed that? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play the major pentatonic. Now I'm going to add a flat third, right there. So that's got a flat third and a third. A flat third, a third. That's a very familiar sound. So much, I'm going to do it again. I don't like the sound from a third to a flat third. I almost always go from flat to third to third, even when I'm descending. I'll show you what I mean. Root, flat third, third, 5, 6, octave, 6, 5, right here, flat third, third, root. To my ear, that just sounds better than going. So, root, flat third, third, 5, 6, octave, 6, 5, flat third, third, root. Now I'm going to keep what we have, and I'm going to add a flat 7 also. Flat third, third, 5, 6, flat 7, octave, flat 7, 6, 5, flat third, third, root. Put all that together. Okay. Now the beautiful thing about this, we're just going to stick with those intervals right now. In the key of D, there are 3 chords, D, G, and A. Those are the 3 basic chords in the key of D. Well, guess what? If I just take that same little system and move it up to the 4th string, I can do the same exact thing with the G scale. I can take the same thing to the 2nd string, and I have A scale. So I'm going to improvise. I'm going to do D, then I'm going to do G, and then I'm going to do A. D. I'm just going to kind of mix it up. D. G. Back to D. A. G. D. D. And I created art on the spot, like I talked about in the beginning of the lesson. So your job is just to take those notes and mix them all up. Put all those notes in a little pot, kind of stir it up real good to where it's real nice and done, and kind of take it out and savor the flavor, and you're going to have some nice mandolin gumbo. Hope this helps, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them below and in the section below, and I'll get back to you. Bye.